Hope you enjoyed some extra training camp live on Tuesday. We are back for Thursday's practice here in Oxnard, California, presented by American Airlines. He's Tommy Yarrish. I'm Kyle Youmans. We've got some red zone drills coming up very, very soon. Let's get to the field early on in practice. We've seen a lot of run offense, getting that rushing game going early. Here are the ones going with Dak Prescott back behind center. And they go right back to the ground. An opportunity for Javonte Williams. We've seen a lot of Jaden Blue, a lot of Phil Maffa. It's been fun to watch the ground game and the physicality here in the early portions.
Yeah, a chance for these younger guys to get some more reps with Miles Sanders still being sidelined. So, you mentioned Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa, a guy that Brian Schottenheimer has had nothing but effusive praise for. That time, Javonte Williams takes advantage, just like Sanborn might have tripped over himself there, the linebacker. And that allowed Javonte Williams to get a little bit more than initially you probably would have thought, but overall, the Cowboys struggled yesterday, on a Tuesday, I should say, against the Rams to establish the run. And, so far in these drills, they're kind of having the same problem.
You also get a chance to see this offensive line. Ajani Cornelius getting tangled up with a defensive tackle there. Jaden Blue is down behind the line of scrimmage, still on his hindquarters, and has yet to get up.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want to see. Jaden Blue has been playing so well. And he's a guy this team is counting on.
And he's still down as the training staff is attending to him. They turn down the music for injuries like that where a guy remains on the field. They've turned down the music. They've moved the ball up a little bit to keep the drill going. But he is up and walking back behind.
Yeah, obviously hope that Jaden's okay, and there's something that they can shake off and get back onto the field pretty quickly.
Especially with a big week ahead. Here's a rollout from Joe Milton. He'll throw on the run. Ryan finds Ryan Flanoy, and then it gets poked out almost immediately. Not sure if he made a football move to keep control or not. Either way, that ball jarred free. Good play from the defensive back and Mike Smith.
Yeah, hell of a play from the undrafted free agent, Mike Smith. We haven't said his name a lot here at camp. That's really the first time that he's come through and flashed. And so, if you're going to do that and leave an impression, this is the week that you want to do it, right? This is the time that you want to do it and be able to make a name for yourself going into these preseason reps.
It might have been Clark. I actually couldn't get a good look. They have the jersey rolled up. It's either 38 or 39.
I think that was Mike Smith. It was 39.
It was, okay. I'll believe you. Both Clark and Smith, undrafted free agents, and both have flashed at times, but like you said, for the most part, they've been in the back end of the depth chart at the safety position. Now there's another offensive player down right at the line of scrimmage. That's Dakota Shepley. Shepley, the 30-year-old out of Canada. Spent a couple years here with the Cowboys on that offensive line, mostly with the practice squad. And now he's down following this run drill.
Yeah, this is that's a position that the Cowboys have been banged up in, is the offensive line. So, that position and cornerback, really the two spots that you don't want to lose a lot of bodies just because they're already thin in that room. And so, with him and Jaden Blue, obviously you hope that there's not too much to be concerned about there.
So Milton moving closer. They're starting at the 15-yard line here. Motioning Jalen Cropper behind the line as Cropper takes the handoff from Joe Milton. We talked about cross-training these players, guys like Turpin, guys like Cropper now getting some decent reps at the running back spot.
Yeah, and Jalen Cropper's a guy who has done really well in training camp before. And so, now it's just all about getting into the season and doing the same things, right, when you get those on-field opportunities. Hasn't had a lot of them, but nonetheless.
All right, now we move into a little bit of red zone work here for the Dallas Cowboys in the first team offense. Dak Prescott
Let's go!
back behind center as they start actually just outside the red zone. They started at the 30-yard line, and then it was a quick completion to Javonte Williams that started the drill. And now it's an opportunity from the 23-yard line, 24-yard line for Dak. Out of the shotgun, quick completion in the flat to Jalen Cropper. Cropper turns upfield. They called him down after a first down right around that 15-yard line.
Yeah, again, Jalen Cropper, a guy who's done so much in training camp for the Cowboys, but you got to put it together in the preseason so you get those on-field opportunities in the regular season. With how deep this Cowboys wide receiver room is, too, that becomes all the more important.
Did see an update. Jaden Blue was carted into the tent. Has not gone back to the locker room quite yet, but we saw that injury to start training camp live. He is now in the tent, still being attended to by the Cowboys training staff. Here's Dak directing traffic. And they may have to reset here. It's tough to communicate down here. This music is a little extra loud at this point in the practice field because you've got the speaker right at the end zone where they're going into it. I'm sure that's by design, trying to keep the noise up at this point in practice. Here's Blue with Lipke outside the line of scrimmage. Luke Schoonmaker in there as well. Play action. Turn back. There's CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's going to take off. He's got blockers in front. And Lamb, they'll call him down inside the 5. Not sure if that was designed, that misdirection all the way through, but it worked out because nobody was on the left side of the field covering 88.
Yeah, no, that's never going to end very well for opposing defenses, or in this case, the Cowboys defense, just because of how good CeeDee Lamb is after the catch.
All right, on we go. The second team now taking some snaps after CeeDee Lamb had that big, long touchdown grab early. Now it's Joe Milton out there with a couple of guys that have been on the Cowboys recently, Turpin and Brooks, some veterans out of this Cowboys offense. They go to the ground with Phil Maffa.
Yeah, Phil Maffa going to be a guy that in this practice is probably going to get some more run. We just saw Jaden Blue get carted to the injury tent initially and then walked off the field and into the Cowboys back area towards the locker room under his own power, so that's a good sign. But nonetheless, this is a team that's playing 2 days from now. So that's going to be a player that they certainly wanted to get some snaps in game action and obviously hope that Jaden's okay.
Now a rotation of guys on the defensive side as well. Guys like Tyrus Wheat, Marshawn Nealon, Keemon Hall, as Hall covers Turpin here. That'll be a fun rep. Milton lofts it up, back of the end zone, looking for Jalen Cropper, who can't get there. It was Israel Mukwamu who was covering.
Yeah, that was from Joe Milton. That time it was just throw it up and hope that Cropper can beat his man there. Not a terrible place to put that ball right along the back of the end zone so that only your receiver can get it. Your corner's going to have to make a really tough play if they want to pick that off. And more of a kind of a throwaway there where it's not really a high risk throw because of where that ball is placed. And Cropper just couldn't get under it.
So they'll reset the ball for the first teamers at the 24-yard line. They move it back a little bit. First team offense out there. We'll see how many of these guys actually play on Saturday. Brian Schottenheimer, non-committal when it comes to starters playing in the preseason. Said there's an opportunity to maybe see some, but for the most part, you'll see a lot of the young guys get those reps. So these are quality reps for the guys at the top of the depth chart. Mingo's in the formation out wide. Play action to Williams. Over the middle, wide open, Luke Schoonmaker. One man to beat, it's Donovan Wilson. I think the power from Schoonmaker may have pushed him into the end zone there.
Yeah, if that's a real game setting, that's going to score too. He was wide open across the middle. Looks like the Cowboys defense got caught in their zone concept and somebody missed their assignment here on the near side of the field towards us. Schoonmaker could have walked into the end zone. He just had nobody in front of him except for Wilson, who closed late.
And even that late closing, like you said, if the physicality's there from Schoonmaker, he's going to push toward the goal line. You want to see a big year from Luke Schoonmaker. Good to see him have some success with the first team. Williams remains in with Tolbert and Lamb. Ferguson to the near side. Low snap to Dak. Pressure off the edge from Nealon. Threw it in the ground and in. Jake Ferguson down.
Oh, man, that was a tough blindside hit from Kenneth Murray, and he knew it immediately.
Yeah, the entire defense quickly over to check on Ferguson. He went down quick at the goal line. All right, so Jake Ferguson able to walk off on his own power. It looks like he'll make his way behind the team drill. We'll see how quickly he's checked up on by the staff and if he's able to return. Definitely a scary moment at the goal line for the new $52 million man. Similar formation here for the first team. Guys like CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin So they put Lamb in motion. They fake it to Lipke. Here's Schoonmaker on the edge. Nice thud there from Marquise Bell as he's pushed out of bounds at the 1.
Yeah, and good job from Bell to keep him out of the end zone there and, escort him to the sideline as quickly as he could. But good stuff here from the Cowboys offense, right? Every yard is going to matter in this area. And you want to just set yourself up as close as possible. And now let's see if they maybe try to lean on the run game a little bit here and try to punch this in that way. You got Lipke lined up to the right of Dak.
The situation is 3rd down and goal from the 2, so they need to score here in order to continue the drill for the offense, or at least the first team offense. Here goes Schoonmaker. Works in motion to the inside of C.D. Lamb. Dak, left side. There's Turpin open on the goal line, and that one would be 6.
Yep, wide open that time again. And, again, in that zone concept, guys just being caught off of their assignments. Looked like Wanye Thomas was playing a little bit too inside that time, and that allowed Turpin to just go out quickly. And, when he's got a little bit of space to work with, it doesn't take a lot to get him the ball because he's going to be able to separate.
Second team back out. Brock Hoffman, Johnny Cornelius, Jalen Brooks, John Stevens in the huddle with Joe Milton. Good to see Joe Milton back. He injured that thumb on Tuesday against the Rams, was unable to finish practice, but just as Coach Schottenheimer alluded to, you got to see him available for Saturday. There's a catch to Holden in the middle of the defense, and he walks in.
Yeah, Trayshawn Holden this past week has really been his best so far here at Cowboys camp. I think that's his 4th touchdown in the last couple of practices. This is a guy as an undrafted free agent that didn't get a big signing bonus necessarily. And, sometimes that's indicative, but he's made some plays, man. He's made some plays. He's in a familiar spot with Junior Adams as collegiate wide receivers coach, and it seems like he's very comfortable in this offense right now.
Originally walked up to the line of scrimmage with a play call, but they have to retreat back and clarify the call. Actually move the ball up a little bit here on the drill as well. How much are fans going to see of Joe Milton during this week of gameplay and practice now that he's back and healthy?
Oh, a lot of it, because right now he's your backup quarterback, and he's only in his 2nd year in the NFL. He's played 1 NFL game, and so you think about Cooper Rush and all the time that he spent in Dallas. He had so many games under his belt, and now you're getting the complete inverse of that in Joe Milton. So as many reps as he can get in the preseason and right now in practice, it's going to be vital for his career. That's a nice play there from Elijah Clark.
Yeah, Clark over the top of Jalen Brooks. That ball right at the ground. Brooks had to go down to the ground to have a shot at it. Taking a look at this second team defense, some big names out there that are looking for starting spots like McQuamu, Wheat, even Perrion Winfrey in the defensive formation as Milton checks at the line of scrimmage. He's showing more confidence in his line calls prior to the snap. Phil Maffa now flips sides. And now they're going to reset.
Yeah, that's a couple of times that the Cowboys have had to reset at the line of scrimmage. I know they're not afraid to do it, but at this point in camp, for it to happen as many times as it has, you're going to want to see less of this as time goes on.
And sometimes it's a check by the coaching staff. They want to check that the call's right, that's been relayed the right way, that Milton was able to portray that to the guys. It's like a progress report. That one passes the progress report. Nice throw from Milton to Brooks in the back corner.
And to clarify, those checks are necessary, right? And more of my point is in a game setting, you're probably not going to be able to do that most times. So you want to be able to make those checks, have your quarterback be able to make those checks, and then make plays like that. It's a great ball from Joe Milton to the back of the end zone to Jalen Brooks.
So now flipping field, Dak Prescott and the ones back out here for some extra team drills. Oh, we got somebody to jump offside. Osa Odigizua creating the free play.
Would have been a free play, and Donovan Wilson got the coulda, shoulda, would have been interception. But yeah, that's just do that over.
A lot of those they just want to blow dead because they don't want to waste the play call. They want to get right back up to the line and either do it again or not.
Also, Digizua looks like his punishment was some push-ups after that, and now he's off on this rep.
Just a quick update, though. Earlier in Training Camp Live, we saw Jake Ferguson walk off to the side and take an injury timeout. He went back into the drill. He was back in the formation following the injury timeout, as this one's completed the Lamb, but then now has walked off to the injury tent, and he is being evaluated by the Cowboys training staff. So at least a good sign to see him back in the drill, but then he turns right back around and he's now back being evaluated.
And he just got taken back to the Cowboys locker room too. So that's Jake Ferguson and Jaden Blue in the same practice. Obviously 2 players that are going to play vital roles for the Cowboys this season. So you obviously hope that they're okay. Ferguson looked like he popped back up and would have been good, but his head kind of snapped back pretty quick. So if it's a concussion in the NFL, I don't want to theorize or anything like that, but they're going to thoroughly look through that kind of stuff nowadays.
Well, the good thing is he doesn't need to be ready for this weekend, whereas Jaden Blue may have needed to be ready for this weekend, as this one's complete underneath to Luke Schoonmaker.
Marshawn Nealon did a good job there at collapsing the pocket, and they blew that play dead. I think they would have given him the sack there. Nealon's had a really good day today. He had a couple of reps earlier that we saw where he was getting in the backfield and collapsing the pocket a little bit on Dak Prescott. So he's a guy that kind of started out really strong here in Oxnard and somewhat quiet down a little bit, but now today back out there and just got a sack there.
Brock Hoffman, second team offense back up there. Joe Milton goes under center. Defense showing some pressure. Play action, bootleg, and there goes Milton. He'll throw on the run behind his target, and this one incomplete. Good opportunity for Fairweather to make a grab, but man, he was hit immediately.
Yeah, Shamar James, the rookie linebacker out of Florida. We've seen him get some run with the ones in the last couple of practices. Here with the twos, does a good job of punching that ball free and not giving Fairweather a chance to reel it in. The pass a little bit behind him, and then that bobble is what ultimately caused James to close in and punch it free.
Those two may have had a collision or two before. James coming from Florida as a rookie, Rivaldo Fairweather coming from Auburn as a rookie. A little SEC action between the 2 first-year players. Once again, play action. Milton with plenty of time here. Looking for Ryan Flanoy. No, it falls incomplete. Flanoy actually kept it off the ground, but he was out of bounds.
Yeah, that rule of cool says that's a catch, but unfortunately the NFL doesn't abide by that. Good job from Flanoy, just concentrating through the end of that play, right? Collapse into double coverage. Maris Leafout was closing in front of him pretty quickly and still able to find a way to hold on to that football, albeit out of bounds. So not going to count, but nonetheless, you'll take that as a wide receiver.
Well, and I like the throw from Joe Milton, too. That was double coverage, and he dropped it in only the spot where his wide receiver could get it. Screen to Cavante Turpin. Turpin trying to turn upfield. He's met quickly.
Yeah, that time Cavante Turpin's put your foot in the ground and hit the spin move the other way. It didn't work as well as it did in Washington last year, but it's all right. It's not going to work that way all the time. They just got him on the quick tunnel screen. Didn't really have great blocking downfield. They got closed on pretty quickly there.
A lot of fun play action, a lot of good looks in the passing game during this drill. Lots of reps for these twos as well. And again, Milton back in the shotgun. Pressure from Wheat. Goes underneath to Phil Maffa, touched up by both Hall and Clark before he could get to the second level.
Yeah, we talked earlier about the injury to Jaden Blue and obviously hoping that he's okay, but Maffa's got a shot here now to prove himself in these snaps that you're going to see not just in this practice but throughout the preseason. And Brian Schottenheimer really likes what he's got in this kid from Clemson. Out of all the running backs in the room, he is certainly the stockiest just in terms of pure size. I mean, he's a massive human being. So you combine that with the fact that they've got some smaller guys around him, and maybe he carves out a role for himself just because of how he's built.
Javonte Williams is the tailback, straight behind Dak Prescott with Schoonmaker to the left, Pickens outside as well. CD is to the far side as the ones take over. Play action, Prescott. Good block from Cooper Beebe to keep Ezeraku off his hip pocket, and it allows for the completion to CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that's why the Cowboys invested in their offensive line. When you give Dak Prescott that much time, and he's got the array of receivers that he's got around him, he's going to be able to make plays down the field for you. And there you see Cooper Beebe come pulling back to stop Ezeraku, who was closing in fast. It's a good rep from Ezeraku, but better job by the second-year center of keeping Prescott up, giving him a clean pocket, and allowing him to step into the throw.
One of the elements Ezeraku was missing in that joint practice with the Rams Tuesday were the extra moves, not just the bull rush. We've seen those extra pass rush moves today. as he goes up against Nate Thomas here. Prescott to Williams in the flat. Look at the block out front from TJ Bass on Mozzie Smith. He took Mozzie for a ride all the way out to the 45.
Yeah, that was a good rep there from Javonte Williams, who had a pretty solid scrimmage at times in what was a very hard day for the Cowboys offense as a whole running the football. I think he had the best run of the day. You know, you only single out maybe 3 or 4 good runs from the Cowboys the other day against the Rams, but Williams certainly had the best one, found the gap, hit it hard, and was able to turn upfield. And that time you see what he can do in the receiving game. Remember his rookie season in Denver, he's a pretty solid receiver for the Broncos out of the backfield. Now, if he gets the early reps in Dallas, let's see if he can do the same.
Bell tie snap for Prescott. Protection broke down. Osa Odigizua was quickly in the backfield, but he does complete it to Lipke on the far side.
Yeah, we just talked about how Cooper Beebe had a great rep a couple of plays ago. That time he kind of got thrown back by Osa Odigizua, collapsed the pocket and got to Dak Prescott for a would-be sack. That's a heck of a play, man. That's why they paid him the big bucks to stick around in the middle of this defense.
Couple more reps here as we wrap up Training Camp Live presented by American Airlines. TJ Bass getting these left guard reps. No Tyler Smith in the fold for this drill. Smith has been in and out of the lineup throughout practice today. It's off to the side currently.
Yeah, that's just to manage his workload and really just more maintenance. We asked Brian Schottenheimer about that the other day. Shouldn't be anything terribly concerning, just making sure that he's in good shape because obviously they're going to need him in Week 1 against Philadelphia.
Some new names on the defense. Pride, Childress, along with Rochelle out there, along with the first-team defense. Prescott quickly had to get rid of it. It's tipped in the air by Turpin, and he finds it right in front of Marquise Bell. Thank you very much. Look what I found.
Yeah, Marquise Bell just didn't turn to see that the ball was hanging in the air. He was worried about tackling Turpin and making sure that he got down, and so didn't see it hanging up there, and then Turpin with the good concentration to be able to find it and reel it in.
So we'll go ahead and wrap things up here on Training Camp Live presented by American Airlines. Once again, alongside Tommy Yarrish, I'm Kyle Youmans. Let me take these sunglasses off so I can look you in the face. So lots of learning, lots of physicality today. We saw a couple guys go down due to injury. That's going to happen in training camp, but that's really the point that Brian Schottenheimer is trying to make.
Yeah, and I will say this, a positive thing on the injury front. We just saw Jaden Blue walk back out onto the field. He's wearing shorts and a T-shirt, not in his game uniform, so he won't return today, but a good sign that he's at least back out here and walking. He's able to walk under his own power. But yeah, Brian Schottenheimer wants this to be a very physical camp. With that, you run the risk of things like what happened today happen, right, where your guys get banged up or hit pretty hard. So it's just something that if this is how Brian Schottenheimer wants to practice, he's going to have to live with the risk of that. And obviously you just hope that everybody's okay.
And that's part of the 11-on-11 nature of this camp too. There's more guys to trip over, more guys to get caught up with, and it's going to continue as camp continues throughout these next couple of weeks. Remember, Saturday, Cowboys-Rams preseason football. It'll be a 6 p.m. start time Central on CBS 11 and the Dallas Cowboys Television Network. Tommy Yarrish will be on Countdown to Kickoff with us for a segment going into kickoff. Of course, that'll start at 3 Pacific and 5 Central. For Alex Lilly, Tommy Yarrish, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you next time with more Training Camp Live.